Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics.
Oh, right. Oh, there we are. Sorry about that.
Yes. Well, so funny thing, mate. Last week, first episode of the season, and we did the whole sort of talk about each other, what we're like and stuff. And you alluded to the fact that I'm like really organised to the point of being OCD and what have you, and that you're a little bit more, I don't know, all over the place and a bit live for the moment, what have you. I was going to defend that and say no. I think you're fairly organised, and then here you come to prove me completely wrong to try and defend you. What fucking time do you call this, mate? Where you been?
Well, you can't say you weren't warned, but no, in all honesty, it's very, very simple. A little bit like myself. I was just waiting for the kettle to boil to make me coffee. Hello, everyone.
Just plodding along, taking your time, were you?
Well, I was. It's a little bit. I do apologise. Sorry, mate, but I'm here now.
Well, you are here. Yeah. So and are you promising to stay here, or like last week, are you going to bugger off and answer the door?
Fingers crossed, I'm not going to disappear.
Right. Well, anyway, now that you have got your coffee, cheers, mate. Nice.
Cheers. Hang on a minute. You flashed it up again. You're still on the old.
Yeah, I'm on my protein and trying to resemble the shape of a man again, rather than whatever.
Are they nicely flavoured, or are they those ones that are sort of just oatmeal-y kind of?
So funnily enough, and I'm not going to say the name because I'm not sure that a podcast about the performance industry is going to get sponsored by a fitness drink. Unless you start doing chin-ups or something, and let's not go there.
Yeah, right, let's not go there.
Yeah. Funnily enough, these are really nice. They're like meal replacement things rather than just a simple protein shake. But they've been bloody discontinued. I can't find them anywhere, so I've got to find an alternative now. So I'm on my last few, so keeping them for special occasions like this.
Yeah, because don't go on the internet, mate, because all those things that you get on the internet,
I mean, I'm not sure if I go on and search for meal replacement protein shake, it's going to bring up anything too sordid. But I think that's your internet going automatically, knowing what you've searched for before.
No, what I meant is it's some of those products that are a bit dodgy, aren't they?
I see. Yeah, well, I'm not going to go on the dark web and buy like a Zempic or any other sort of weight loss injection thing or something. But no, yes. So I'm still on that, but still finding the occasion to have a beer. And I tell you what. When we do and this is a promise, when we do our first episode from the flat or our first sort of in-person together one, I'll definitely be on the beers. Does that sound like a fair deal? Yeah.
So will I. Yeah, that's well, I'll drink coffee to that, mate. Lovely.
Yeah. But yes, so cheers everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
If you were a newbie or a first timer last week, we obviously haven't scared you off, so thanks very much for coming back. And as always, to everyone that's been with us, either from the start or certainly from somewhere in our elongated past, thank you so much for coming back and being with us once again.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's how's your week been, mate? Go on.
Little bits and pieces this week. Just sort of. The coming weekend, when this is out and about, I will be out and about. I've got a little interactive dinner thing by the seaside. I'm going down to Eastbourne, which will be lovely. But yeah, let's odds and sods this week. I've had quite a busy couple of weeks, so it's nice to sort of be at home and catch up a little bit before.
Well, this is sort of the post-Easter calm down period, I guess.
Post-Easter, post-bank holiday kind of thing. Yeah, and we've been having some meetings, looking at events in the summer and some shows in the summer. So yeah, we sort of a little bit of production and budget. Sitting there with a calculator working out budgets. Massively boring. So get away from the boring. Back to the wondrous Mr. Dunning. What have you been doing this week, mate?
Very similar, mate. Just little sporadic bits. Costume fitting, day on set. Can't talk about it. Sorry.
NDA.
Really entertaining podcast content there. And as you say, by the time this has gone out, I will have done another immersive dinner show as well. So that's coming out. But yeah, so it's, as I said last week, I went from sort of like a year last year where my feet didn't touch the ground and was constantly on tour or doing massive, massive shows to very much little bits put together. But it's nice to have that variety, isn't it? If you are organised like me and able to manage your workload and keep to time on stuff, it doesn't tend to be too much of an issue. For you, I imagine it's a nightmare.
No, I know. I'm normally fat. Oh, shut up. Once. Well, maybe a couple of times I've been, but no. Is it? Yeah. But now, hang on a minute, because and those that are new to us and coming back again, this is episode 2 of the season, and it is, Sam. It's guest week.
It is guest
Isn't it
week.
not?
First one of the season. Yeah.
First one of the season, and for those of you who new, we love a little segue on this show, don't we, Sam? We love a segue.
He's got one. He's planning. Go on, hit me.
Well, it's a double segue because it's a double segue because I was going to say, our guest this week is someone who is very, very familiar with keeping time.
Yes.
And also, if that wasn't enough, the other double say was you've also worked with our guest this week, haven't you? In one of your very busy shows last year.
Yes. So no, very well spotted. Yes. So double segue, but rather than trying to explain said double segue more than that, I think it's probably easier to just bring in our guest and we can delve into it a little bit more in that way.
Is it time, Sam?
I think it is time. So let's hit all our listeners out there with our first guest of season 13. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Drewling Samantics listeners and watchers worldwide, please meet the very talented, the very funny, the very lovely Mr. Robin Payne. And I would say it's a sight for sore eyes, but I think it's more a sore sight on the eyes. I am, of course, joking. Uncle Robin's here. Mr. Robin Payne is joining us on Drewling Samantics. How are you old git?
I'm fabulous. You obviously have gone beyond scraping the barrel and are truly into the wood now.
Oh, not in the slightest.
Not in the slightest.
I do have to say, though, that Drew has a much better lining cushions than you do.
It does. And we're dangerously close to you spoiling the illusion right now that I'm not actually where it's going to look like I am, because I'm currently on green screen because I'm going to edit that in later. But we won't ruin the illusion for everyone watching.
Well, no, but surely our job is illusions.
To an extent, yes. But before we confuse people into thinking that we've got a magician on this week, although, may I say, and this is probably the only time I'll be genuine and heartfelt in this entire thing, that you are a magician when it comes to your craft. If that is fair to say, I think you're bloody brilliant at what you do, mate.
Well, thank you very much. That's most kind. If anybody's still confused as to what I actually do, it's a bit different for you guys because nearly always you have actors. You have the people who stand upon the stage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've Robin, lovely to meet you, mate. Thanks for doing this. And I'm really glad you're here because usually old git is aimed at me. So we can split the pain this week, if you pardon the pun. That was an unintentional pun.
Yes, but then again, it depends on whether you get pain from children.
I'm not going there, mate, for fear of incriminating myself.
Yeah. But yes, so we are joined this week by, for those of you watching on YouTube can see, and anyone listening, the dulcet tones you're hearing are the very talented Mr. Robin Payne, a good friend and colleague of mine. Did a tour together last year, which I'm sure we will get more into very shortly. But when I say I did a tour with you, you sort of alluded to it there as well, that you don't really sort of go forefront, stand on the stage, everyone look at me. I think the simplest way of describing what you do, mate, is saying that you sit at the back and hit things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because hitting people is frowned upon in polite society.
So you found an outlet that wouldn't necessarily get you arrested.
No, I mean, I have an outlet for my latent anger issues. Well, they're not that latent, really. But
No, they're quite obvious and forefront when it comes to.
and not only that, I'm very fortunate to have a group of sponsors, which means not only do I get to hit things for a living, but I get to be given the things that I hit and hit with.
People send you things to hit.
People send me things to hit. Yeah, I mean, it's great.
Right, enough of our sort of cryptic and ridiculousness. Mr. Robin Payne, can you explain to all the Drewling Samantics listeners and watchers exactly what you do, how you got into doing what you do, and why you do it?
Yeah, I'm a musician, basically. And, well, saying I'm a musician, I'm a drummer. I'm not even going to pretend that I'm a percussionist. I'm a drummer. People say to me, "Oh, you're a percussionist." And you go, "No, I'm not. I'm a drummer." And it is a completely different thing, because percussion is lots of vibraphones and xylophones and glockenspiels and timpanis. And I just hit drums. And I do it because it's the best thing in the world, in my opinion. It's got the best buzz. It's got the best vibe. You get to play. You get to sit at the back and hold everything together. And I mean, the only other thing, apart from various sort of dead-end jobs that I've done over the years, is, I mean, I had an audition for the Archers when I was 16. And it's a bit like a family business, because my great-uncle was in the Archers. He was Ned Larkin in the Archers.
Oh, so cool.
And
huge Archers fan, big fan here.
Yeah,
and I know that makes me old,
My
Sam.
great-uncle was Ned Larkin.
Bloody love
his dad. So there you go. And so I got Roger Hume, who was a phenomenal actor who lived in Shipston, where I'm from, had this. He said, "Oh yeah, they're looking for a young man, and the role's going to be, just a sort of bit part, but they're looking at building it up. Come along and do an audition." So I came along and did an audition, and then they offered me the role, and I said, "No, thanks. I want to be a drummer." So it can be argued that I am financially stupid and mentally ill, but I personally like hitting things.
Yeah, well, I think the financially stupid thing is kind of the industry in general, isn't it? There are very few of us are in a position where we can sort of sit back and go, "Well, easy year this year, don't need to really do anything."
No.
But just to expand on what you've said, yes, you are a drummer, you are a musician. That is your sort of primary thing. But most people would sort of go, "All right, so you're in a band." But actually, you spend the majority of your time going sort of from band to band, but more specifically, bands for functions or shows, rather than sort of just performing music.
Yeah, generally pit shows. I mean, I've done function bands. I've been in, bands that have had record deals, and I've done all that sort of stuff. And but I sort of fell into doing drama productions, because I did drama A-level, which I never finished, at Stratford College with Gordon Vallins, who's the man who invented theatre studies A-level. Wow. And as I only live 11 miles down the road from Stratford, Gordski is a very good friend of mine. I've done an awful lot of shows with him, including a fabulous version about 20 years ago of The Threepenny Opera at Leamington, where I did it when I was 16 with him, and then I did it later. And he came up to me holding this lady by the shoulder, and he went, "Look, Robbo, real whores, real whores. None of your nubile 16-year-olds like we did it last time. These women have had a life."
Wow. I'm sure she was thrilled to be described as such.
I mean, they all loved it, because they all think the world of Gordon, like we all do. But it was just so wonderful. He was so excited about somebody that actually looked like a Weimar whore, who'd obviously had a tougher life than a 16-year-old nubile girl who looked extremely pretty when I was 16. Dressed
women look pretty when we were 16, mate.
Yes, so, but I mean, it was, I did that. And then I went from I became the pit drummer at Stratford College for like 10 years, mainly because I don't think they could find anybody else who was willing to work for the money. And I went from there to doing other shows and other shows. And so what I generally do, while you lot have all spent 2 months learning your part on your craft, and and you've inhabited the role and all this, the rest of us rock up with about 3 days to go, sight read it, and go, "Is that what you want?"
Yeah. That rings very true to me. There's a lot of band calls where I've seen a lot of drummers with that slightly cynical look at the actors, when the actors are pouncing around on stage and the drummer's sitting there going, bang, bang, boom, bam, boom, bang, boom, and it's all very wonderful. You go, "Will that do you?" And you go, "Did we really need 2 months while that guy can do that?" That's skill. That's, but
see, I mean, it's craft, but the other point is that then, you have to become a character, whereas I'm just being me.
Yeah.
I turn up, I sit in the dark like a mushroom, and watch a guy wave a stick around occasionally.
Although I have personal experience of you having to do more than just hitting your things at the back, but again, we'll come to that.
Yeah.
So talk to us about sort of early days. Obviously, as you said, you started off doing stuff at Stratford College, but what about coming to touring and coming to bigger shows and musical theatre in particular, where it's very, very band heavy?
Yeah,
How did they come around, and where did that sort of stem from?
Well, I sort of was doing things at Stratford, and I did one or two things for local amateur operatic societies, and a lot of sort of Amdram stuff. And then you sort of like get asked if you'd like to turn up and play for this thing, and are you available for that? And, "Oh, I like working with you. Could you come along and do this?" And the trick I've always found is you get on with people. If you're bolshy, and if you go on about such and such is so much better, what's the difference between John Coltrane and Miles Davis? There is a massive difference between John Coltrane and Miles Davis, but they're both still dead.
They do have that in common, yes.
Yes, they do have that in common. Whereas if you're alive, then what you need to do is it's a really difficult balancing. And I'd like to know what Drew's thoughts are on this with regard of acting as well, because where is it that you sort of I think it's all about being part of a company and being actually part of the greater thing, the greater whole, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that a lot of my work now is repeat work, working with people that I have a shorthand with, because that means we all get on.
Yeah.
We've all worked together before. We all know each other's, if you like, mannerisms, tricks on the stage, so we can incorporate all that. But also, it makes it very quick to get rid of the bullshit. And I find, I love working with new people. Of course I do. It's what we all love to do, is meet people, work together, and create something that other people are going to sit and watch and enjoy. But the sooner you get into, as soon as you become a company, I think the best work starts to happen, because otherwise you've got, you get to, and in a way it sounds obvious, but you as performers, music, wherever we are within the building, putting this thing on, as soon as you all feel it, a little bit of magic happens. And I know that sounds a little pretentious, but
it's true.
It's like any team. It's like a friend of mine is a very keen sailor, and he joins Atlantic races and stuff. Yeah. And he said, this boat won't bloody move. He said it'll move, but he said it'll sail when you work as a team. And it's the same with actors. And you stand on stage with someone, and if you've met that person half an hour ago and you're having a scene where whatever you've got to do, even if you're just having a conversation, you don't know them. But a couple of days down the line, when you start to know them, you had a drink in the pub, you've had something to eat, you've walked into work with them, you've chatted at tea break. In the days when I smoked, you've had a fag with someone, you know them. And then you can start to go, okay, I can reveal a little bit of myself now. I can open up. And I can also, you can share that. And I think that's where you say, people go, I like you, I want to work with you. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You're 50% there if you get on with someone.
Yeah.
You know, because you can turn around and go, you know, that section there, Robin, I think we need to give it a little bit of something. You go, yeah, fine, right, here we are. How about that? You go, yeah, lovely, right, you know. And or you're sitting there on the drums and going, can I just add something here? You know, and people go, yeah, fire away, mate. And it's the same with, you know, I mean, there's an old actor thing, and I think Sam knows the thing that, you know, you never give another actor a note.
No.
And I've worked with some way when I was starting out. I worked with some lovely old actors that sadly no longer with us, but really seasoned pro. And I had, you know, someone walks up to me who's 30 years older than me, and he goes, do you know what, old boy? If you did blah blah blah, try it, give it a go, and you do it, and you get a laugh or you get a response, and you go, thanks for that. You know, and that's it. I'm never minded. I don't even mind an actor who's just come out of drama school going, Drew, do you reckon if we do so and so? And I go, yeah, let's do it. You know, that's the company feeling. You know,
Yeah,
it was a long.
I mean, that's a very big important part of why I do what I do. It's being in a band. It's being, you know, being in a band. It's being part of a company. You know, I until recently, because it's just folded this year. But there was a wonderful lady called Debbie Moody who did a thing called the Year Out Drama Group for 30 years, whatever. I mean, I worked on and off with Debbie for 40 years.
Wow.
And at no point did I try and kill her. I don't think. But I mean, she was brilliant. She had this Year Out Drama Group, and I used to come in and do generally the first show of the year. And it was a full-time year-long course. And she would give them something like Oedipus or Faustus, you know, or Agamemnon. I don't want to know how many versions of Agamemnon I've done over the years. And it would all be parts spoken in group speak. And they would start off that fortnight experience of, you know, being individuals and fighting against each other, and by the end of it, they would be a company, and that company would then go through the rest of the year up to July. And I'm a very big and firm believer in the fact that, you know, companies work. I mean, we you know had the tour that myself and Sam alluded to earlier. I mean, it worked because we got on.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the downside of getting on with Sam is that I have to turn up on things like this.
All right, mate.
You are not here against your will, can I just add? There was no begging, borrowing, stealing, what have you.
What, you mean I'm not getting paid?
No. When we get paid, you'll get paid, mate. How about that?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
How many times have we heard that?
Yeah. But no, I mean, he's it's like the musician's version of that is, yeah, turn up and play this gig. It's great exposure. And you go, you can't eat exposure.
No.
Yeah.
My plumber doesn't accept exposure when he comes to fix my bathroom.
Well, that's not what I've heard.
Yeah.
You're going to start rumours. This is why I was worried about having you on. No, but you're absolutely right. We did an incredible tour together. In case I don't think we've mentioned it previously, but we were on the Doris Day musical, the Doris Day story together, alongside the lovely friend of the podcast, Mr. Andy Linfield. Hi,
yes,
Andy, if you're watching, sure you are. But as you say, it was a great show. We had some incredible performers, be that the musical side or the acting side, but the teamwork and actually no, that's bad of me. I should have said as well as crew side as well. Yeah. So technical.
And we all crewed, we all teched.
Yeah. So there were get-ins, get-outs were team effort. There were. It was a very small cast for a full-scale musical.
Yeah.
So we had other sort of responsibilities when it came to moving set around and stuff like that as well. But the core reason it was so successful is because we were a team, and it was actually a very sort of quick turnaround. Like the cast were brought in fairly late on due to problems with the production and various other things. So it was quite short notice.
So was I, because I wasn't the original drummer slated for that.
No,
neither was the MD and the pianist.
No,
they weren't slated for it. I mean, it was a catalogue of disasters, and somehow we managed to pull it round.
Yeah,
and I mean, the best bit of it really was, for the 6 weeks it went on for, I got to watch you work every night while I'm sitting down.
Well, yes. I mean, I would hasten to add that you were also working, and working bloody hard, and even going above and beyond some of the stuff you normally do, because, and I'm not sure you'll like me mentioning it, but you had to dance.
That I can't dance. Yes.
No, I'm not mentioning you can't dance. I'm saying that you were made to dance.
Yes, I was made to dance, and it's amazing how good you can make it look when you're spending the entire time looking at your feet. Not my feet, your feet.
Oh, you were watching my feet. Well, no wonder you looked awful then, because my feet were not doing what they were supposed to be doing either. But it was certainly a team effort, and I think everyone ranged from being leading actors or supporting actors and crew and technical and ensemble to musicians who were also acting and ensemble, and everyone had multiple roles. Everyone got stuck in
driving,
driving. Just there were so many elements to it. Well, yeah, your car suffered on that tour. It certainly earned its worth, but it was a team effort, and we got to experience this incredible show, or the result was this incredible show, because of what we all put into it, and we all went above and beyond.
And we had a lovely 3 days in Derry.
Yeah, we went out to
Derry. Sam doesn't like to talk about Derry.
I just don't remember a lot of it. There was a lot of Guinness.
Oh, I was going to say, I was leaning in there for people who are not watching us. I'm leaning in to tell why you've got to tell me. You can't let that hang there.
There is nothing to tell. I just
there isn't really a lot to tell, but the whole tour was because I don't drink, being a good Quaker, and plus I was also driving the car.
Yeah, kind of.
With the cast in it.
Probably better that you didn't have a drink.
What a responsibility!
Yeah. So I wasn't drinking, and I was, however, put in charge of Sam's teeth whitening equipment.
Oh my God!
Because at the point that we were on this tour, Sam was going through some treatment to whiten his teeth, which everybody, I think, wearing sunglasses can avow was a true victory for dental care.
Thanks, mate. And just can I just weigh in here so it doesn't get blown out of proportion? Basically what you did is you had my bag, and my teeth whitening happened to be in it, and it had to be kept chilled, so it was just like making sure it wasn't in the sun and stuff.
Do you know the responsibility you get?
Yes, I'm well aware.
I mean, let's face it. I mean, these dental procedures are expensive. And I mean, did you have to? Did you have one of those refrigerated vehicles? Did you have to?
No,
I mean, were you
not. What I
temperature
did
controlled?
Every time I got to the venue, I generally asked them where the fridge was and did it have a freezer compartment.
Right.
And then you had to put this stuff in the freezer compartment. And then you had to remember to pick it up as you were going, after you'd loaded the kit, loaded all the props. Loaded all the costumes.
You are making me sound like the biggest diva in the world. You did it once for me because I flew and you went on a boat. The rest of the time I was...
Hang on.
You had to remind me because I've got a shit memory. But... I am not a diva. Yes, I was having treatment on my teeth. Yes, I had to take the stuff with me. Yes, it had to be refrigerated.
Yes, but then again, if we weren't allowed to take the mick out of you, it wouldn't be fun, would it?
No. And this is, I sign myself up for this every time I have a guest on, or we have a guest on that I've worked with. I know that they are going to side with Drew, and it's going to be an episode for the Taking the Mick. So for anyone who is new to Drewling Samantics or new to guest episodes anyway, this is fairly standard. It's let's all poke fun at the guy with the white teeth and the what have you. But
no, they are a true victory for teeth whitening.
Oh, thank you so much.
The other thing that Sam does tend to do, which he doesn't tend to tell anybody, is he has to go around hugging everybody before we go on.
Oh, I have to see everyone before a show. Yeah, it's like a tradition. I have to like make sure that I've even given someone a hug or like seen them beforehand to wish them luck or break a leg.
But also, you were sort of wrangling.
Yeah, well, that's my OCD though, isn't it? Like having spreadsheets and going right. You're supposed to be here and you're supposed to be there. But
you would do all that, and then we're ready to go, and we're already 5 minutes late, and then suddenly Sam appears hugging everybody.
Where have you been? I've been sorting stuff out. I've been putting props in the right places. But we're about to go on. I know, but I've got to see everyone before a show. But yes.
Hug you. Yes.
Yeah. No, but Drew's well aware of that. He knows that I have to make sure that I know what's going on before.
Oh, but that's interesting. I mean, that we've talked about this in the past, Sam and I, sort of like little performance rituals and things that one does. Are you a person of habit? Yes. Are you a musician of habit? There's things you do.
I generally change my shoes when I get into a pit.
Right.
I generally play in a set of jazz dance pumps because I've got it in my head that I can feel the pedals better through them.
I've heard because my friend of mine is a drummer and he plays in slippers occasionally. Yeah. He does the same thing. He said in cold weather, he said I can feel it a little bit better than wearing shoes.
Yeah. So I do that, and I also have this phrase which I also say, which is "good luck studio" just before when it goes right. 30 seconds to the up, and you go "good luck studio," and I don't know why I do it. There obviously was a reason a long time ago, but I can't remember it. So
it just sticks away. But talking of studios, have you done a lot of work or some work in studios? Because that must be.
I do a lot of session and studio. Yeah.
That's a completely different discipline altogether, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you turn up. I used to do a lot of stuff for Heart FM jingles and stuff like that, where you'd turn up and there would be there'd be you and the bass player at this studio down by Worcester, and you'd sit there and you'd play this sort of boom, bah, boom, boom, and then the next time you'd hear it was you'd hear it sent through dozens of effects, and you'd hear this, come to Nissan Worcester. It was a real depressing.
Can we just say other brands of car are available? Nissan aren't sponsoring us.
Of course available, but I just remember sitting there thinking, wow, this is me. This is me. And then all of a sudden this bloke goes, come to Nissan Worcester to get your new micro. And I'm sort of thinking,
yeah. Your that's music, it's like any advert though. It's just like it's say goodbye to your soul, people advertising whatever, and you go, like you say, you've got to eat, you've got to put petrol in the car.
Yeah, well, I mean, I only did one 6-week tour on a cruise ship. I was booked as a dep on a cruise ship. I later found out that the people involved, the singer was having an affair with the drummer who got sacked by the keyboard player who was also the MD. And then we pulled into Southampton at the end, and he met her at Southampton, and they ran off into the sunset. And I turned to the guy and I said, I guess it's not a repeat booking then.
Oh, God.
I'm not going to tell you what he told me to do with myself.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Sideways and quickly, yeah.
Yes.
So tell us more then about the side that perhaps I've had more involvement in, the musical theatre side, because you've done some pretty big shows and some fairly substantial tours. Yes, we toured together, but it was brief, relatively speaking, I would say, compared to some of the stuff you have done.
I mean, I've done some longer tours. I've done deps on tours, which is also an interesting experience where you turn up, you're not the regular drummer. The regular drummer may have, sort of another job come in, or he may have something else. And you come in and basically you've got to be that person for a month. And I did that on a tour of Joseph once, which was interesting, with the anatomical camel that broke down a lot. and we used to sit there and the whole band were involved in this sort of betting thing about which part of which scene the anatomical camel would break down in. and you know, and I'm literally built into the corner of this theatre behind a huge wooden and you know, sort of perspex shield that they built in the corner. And I'm not as loud as a lot of players are. So they stuck me in this little room that they custom built and carried around the country with them.
Nice.
And they're sort of going, you know, you're not very loud, are you? I'm going, well, that's why I'm mic'd up.
Well,
you know,
yes,
the whole
exactly
point
that.
of being mic'd up is that you don't have to beat the crap out of it. But yeah, and I mean, you know, some of the things. I mean, I like touring. I like touring because you get to spend generally a week in a place. When we were out, it was you were lucky if you got down the road to the local Costa. You know,
yeah. And that's another thing, isn't it? Like the short appearance touring, so single dates or double dates in a venue, you haven't got that time to settle. So your feet don't touch the floor. You're always moving. You're always doing something. The minute you finish doing something, you've got to start the next thing to be ready for what's coming next. So it's maybe a slightly different interpretation or a representation, I should say, of touring theatre or touring performing. Whereas, as you say, with something like a major like Joseph or some of the other shows you've done, you get a week in those places, so you settle in. You're able to sort of set up home temporarily.
Yeah. You know, and that has good and bad aspects. You know, you put a whole bunch of musicians in a pit for a week, and they're generally having to get the place cleaned out about Wednesday because there's crisp packets, and in those days it was tins, not bottles. Bottles were made of glass back then, you know, and there were no plastic bottles, and all, so there's stuff falling over and making a row, and you know. Bass players obsessed with porn mags, but we're not going there. And you've got all these little kids coming down the front to look into the pit to see.
Peeping over,
Mummy, what's Nave? You know.
God. You know? Let's steer quickly away from there. A bit of a random question.
When I did my cruise ship thing, I mean, the bass player I was working with and sharing a cabin with was because I was working for Saga, and they were, how can I put it? He'd got a thing about the Grey Rinse Brigade. I mean, he was literally. And if I came back to the room, which was under the waterline and in the middle of the ship, if I came back to the shared room and his shirt was hanging up outside, I had to go somewhere else.
Oh God.
So I got very good at sleeping. They had a library and they had a cinema, and I got very good at sleeping in those.
It shows that he was obviously very good at what he was doing as well. If it was that regular,
and then we'd land, you know, and you'd have a couple of days off after a 10-day trip to the fjords or whatever, and then he'd go home to his wife and kids, you know, and then come back and just think. You know, it's a different.
What goes on board stays on board, I suppose.
Quite. I mean, you know, it's not the way I would have done it, but there you go.
No, absolutely. But a random question I wanted to ask, just briefly, and it suddenly came to me. The majority of the time when you're performing in a musical, you, as you keep saying, are in the pit. You've got the orchestra pit. So be that three of you, MD, keys, one guitar and the drums, or be a huge orchestra of, I don't know, 20, 22, 24 people, depending on the size of the show and what's required. But as with our tour and a couple of others I'm sure you've done, there are occasions where you are not hidden away. Is it an enormously different experience to be a band that is visible on stage as part of a show?
Yeah, for a start, you know, you can't pick your ears and, you know.
You've got to behave yourself, haven't you?
And you can't sit there, you know, sort of checking your phone, which people do now, or reading Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or books. I used to sit in the pit and read books, and the MD would sort of go, and you go, oh, right, fine.
Oh, I'm off.
It's all right. My dog's suddenly woken up now. I've tapped the table. Magics, go back to bed. Go on. And yeah, I mean, you do that. If you're visible, then you have to be visible.
But do you prefer it?
No.
Okay.
I like being in the pit. I like the safety of a pit.
Yeah.
The anonymity of the pit. Yeah.
But you say that. I mean, I was doing a couple of pantos. Not going to say who they were for, but I did long runs of pro panto shows. 6-7 weeks, and in the first time I did this, the first year I was up there doing this, I got there and to find out that I was the band.
What?
There was me and a computer.
You and a click track.
So, yeah, me, a click track, and everything else was on computer.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I was handed a list.
Sound effects.
These were the musicians that I had to remember their names.
What?
Yeah, they didn't exist. And I'd have people meeting me at the stage door because we did have a phenomenal lead actor and singer involved. And I'd get people meeting me at the stage door going, "Oh, I didn't think your saxophone player was as good tonight." And I'd go, "Oh, Jerry, yeah, no, he was having a bad day."
There was no one there.
It's me, a drum kit, and a set of headphones.
Oh, that's hysterical.
And then at the end, I'd have to appear in the little sort of window at the front of the stage and wave and acknowledge everybody.
Amazing.
Fantastic. I'm loving that.
Robin, mate, it's been an absolute joy talking to you, and I can't believe I'm saying that because you've spent most of it taking the piss and lying through your teeth about stuff that I've done that I clearly haven't, because I am the ultimate professional, of course. But no, genuinely,
these things, but you do them in a professional manner.
I'll take it. I think that's close enough.
Take that, Sam.
But no, it's been joyful, obviously, catching up and chatting to you and hearing about your unbelievable career. And there isn't enough time in an episode to really get stuff in. And I've heard many stories that we probably couldn't broadcast whilst being on tour with you, which just add to that. But can you, in typical Drewling Samantics style, and I know you watch the show, so you know what's coming. We've got a couple of minutes left. Can you fill those couple of minutes with a story, an anecdote, something just to wrap up, something that stands out from your career that doesn't involve me?
No, right, okay. I was doing a panto. It's what we do every year. We all love panto.
Of course.
I mean, yes, I especially like panto because it happens just before your tax money's due.
Yeah, it's quite useful there, yeah.
I really like that. And I was doing this show, and they had a pantomime cow, with the fixed eyes and the tongue hanging out, and the two people, somebody at the front, somebody at the back. And so this girl who was at the front of the pantomime cow set off, to march off, to go off to be sold for beans, walked straight into a stone presidium arch, knocked herself out cold.
Oh, my God.
I'm sitting in the pit with the rest of the band, and I'm having to, when I do pantos, I tend to, if I'm in an open pit, I tend to face the stage because I have to put in all the effects and stuff. And so this head is hanging over the pit with this glazed expression and tongue hanging out. And you've got the back end trying to pull the front end of this cow round the back of the presidium.
God!
And I mean, everybody sort of went... when she walked into the wall, because she went bum, 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 bang, straight into it. Couldn't see where she was going. And knocked herself out cold. And then everybody is just wetting themselves.
I bet that was traumatic for the kids watching, though.
No, they were loving it as well, because you got the back end. You got the back end, which is basically somebody wearing a pair of fluffy trousers and they can't see anything.
No.
Yeah, trying to drag the front end, and all you could hear was sort of Stacey, are you all right?
I mean, fantastic.
Those kind of stories do stand out. I know there are many, many more, and what we'll do is we'll get you back on at some point to tell a few more. But honestly, mate, it's always wonderful to see you. Miss you lots.
It's been a joy. It's been a pleasure to meet Drew, who I have watched on these bizarre things quite a lot.
Thank you, mate. Well, likewise, a joy to meet you, Robin. And thanks so much for joining us. And as Sam said, you'll have to come back, mate, because there's got to be more stories like the cow. There's got to be more.
And one day I hope to be able to sit in a pit or on a stage and watch you work as well, Drew.
Look forward to that, mate. Look forward to
that. What a lovely way to end. Mate, thank you so much. Take care of yourself. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Cheers.
Take care, Robin. Bye-bye, mate. And there we go. Our first guest of the new season 13, and Mr. Robin Payne. I mean, he might sit in the dark at the back as he described himself hitting things, but he is an enormously entertaining man.
Oh,
I mean,
brilliant.
Obviously, a career as long as your arm and plus a couple of drumsticks. What I need to say, I mean, you've worked with him and his warmth and his knowledge, and just to have. I mean, he was he said, it's great to be a good company member, work with people you want to go back to. I mean, I can see why you'd want to work with Robin again, because he's just it's a rich, warm, and as I say, very funny guy. I mean, I don't know his playing, but I can only assume by the length of his career that he's bloody good.
Oh, he's a phenomenal musician. I mean, he underplays it and says but he is genuinely superb. Very, very talented. And I'm sure he won't mind me saying he sort of became known as Uncle Robin on tour because he just made sure that everyone was doing what they needed to, but from a support kind of way, not like being controlling. He was checking up on people, making sure everyone was all right, making sure things were done, wasn't afraid to sort of help out wherever was needed at any point. So a genuinely lovely bloke, brilliant fun, amazing to have on tour or to work with because he's just so committed and so talented. And a wonderful guest to boot.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, that
package.
Mr. Payne has set the bar very high. Well, we've often said that, but I mean it in that instance. He's your man who hits things has hit the mark, I think.
Oh, very good indeed.
And I'm going to stop now before I get any more of those.
Yeah, I think you've peaked, mate.
Very early.
Well, I don't know. You're 800 years old, so I'd say.
Well, that's true. Yeah, true. Yeah, there's a peaks and troughs in there somewhere. Yeah. Brilliant. But I mean, mate, it's just us next week, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, no more delightful guests for a week. It's just you and me, with a lot to say, I'm sure.
We never struggle to say a lot. Whether what comes out is worth saying, who knows? But
don't say that, Sam. It's brilliant. We got the rest of the season to go, and it can only get better, can't it?
It can't get any bloody worse, can it?
Well, that's true. That's true.
And on that really positive note, should we call it a day there?
I think we should. And I promise I will be on time next week.
Yeah.
If I have to have a flask for my coffee, I will be on time, people. I promise.
Well, I'm going to hold you to that, and everyone else, I'm going to hold you to the fact that you will come back and join us next week.
Please do.
Far more shenanigans and chat, and just the usual shit, really.
Usual crap, mate. Yeah.
Until then, have a good one, everyone. See you later on. Cheers.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks again for watching this episode of Drewling Samantics.
Please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video.
Don't forget, we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app. And please support us on social media. All our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so why not share with your family and friends so they can join in too? Thanks very much. See you next time.